How does your insurance carrier actually determine if your roof is repairable? What is the Brittle Test? Is it really a standard? Or is it bull? So insurance companies, when they go out and they take a look at your roof, they're sending an adjuster onto it, and the adjuster might be performing something they call a brittle test. Some of them have changed the name of it to a repairability test or a pliability test. They're all basically the same thing. We're all talking about the same thing. The problem with this is that there isn't a standardized test to determine if your roof is repairable. The brittle test, pliability test, it only tests one factor of whether or not your roof is repairable. What is it even testing? And how are they supposed to even do it? And are they all doing it consistently? They aren't. So if they're not doing it consistently, how do we have any kind of scientific data to back up that assumption that is being made? It's speculation. When an insurance carrier does a brittle test, the majority of them will lift a shingle to the point that they think a nail can be struck with a hammer. But the insurance carrier doesn't determine how high that is and standardize that. There's no legitimate ASTM test for this. There is a test that some people will claim is part of this that determines the pliability of a shingle that's brand new, and they lift it 90 degrees and they let go, and it has to be able to lay itself back down within a 20-minute span. That's the ASTM test for brand new shingles. That isn't a repairability test. That has nothing to do with shingles that are actually already installed. So what is a brittle test? If it's a repairability test, then they need to know all the other factors involved. Can the nails be pulled out of the roof without causing damage? Can these shingle seals be broken without causing further damage? Did that adjuster go searching for a loose shingle? Did he just walk all over the roof, trying to lift every shingle he can? Probably. Why do they do that? Because they don't want to break the seal. If they break the seal, then there's a possibility they cause matting transfer because it's hard to break the seal. So they're already looking for one that's loose. They're taking away one of the big problems that you need to figure out exists. When you put the new shingle in, is there anything obstructing that shingle from being able to go in? Maybe there's ice and water shield over that whole surface. Brittleness can change from one season to the next. The colder it gets, the stiffer the shingle becomes, the more brittle it is. The warmer it gets, the more pliable a shingle becomes, but also the stronger the seals become. So depending on what season it is, might change the results of a brittleness test anyway. So how can that establish whether or not a roof is repairable? It can't. There are so many factors that go into whether or not additional damage will be caused during the repair of your roof that a brittleness test doesn't test for, that it should just be eliminated as part of the process. So how do we actually determine if a roof is repairable or not? There's only one way, only one. You have to actually attempt the repair. If you don't attempt the repair, then you're not actually giving any kind of good information. All you're doing is speculating. So as a contractor, you should be attempting the repair. Video it. Take photos of it. Document the crap out of attempting that repair. Submit that to the carrier. If they say our position stands, then they are refusing to investigate the loss. They are acting in bad faith in every single state in this country. They are required to fully investigate. The insured has to prove the loss. You're helping the insured do that by providing them documentation. If they ignore it, then they are acting in bad faith. They have to fully investigate. So, you send that in. Even if they say our position stands, it still gives someone a leg to stand on in fighting back. If they agree with you, great. If they invite someone back out on site to do this in front of them, do it. But I have a better suggestion. Invite the carrier to bring out any contractor that they would like to attempt the repair. I know, I'm asking you to put your competitors on the roof with them. It doesn't matter. If it's not repairable, they're not going to be able to do it, just like you weren't able to do it. They're not going to get the job out of this. But the key here is that the carrier isn't going to assume that their contractor is causing damage on purpose, but they will assume that you're causing damage on purpose. You don't want them to assume that. Invite them to bring out any contractor they want. If they say that's not necessary, great, you attempted. If they say, okay, we'll do that, that's fantastic. Go out there, make friends with the contractors. You guys don't have to be mad at each other or angry all the time. Let them know what your issue was when taking the shingle out. I guarantee they end up having the same problem. If they do this and it fails, and then they still say that their position stands, well, it might be time to get the help of a public adjuster or an attorney if you don't already have a public adjuster involved. I encourage you to have one involved from the beginning for all of this, by the way. There are so many things that need to be addressed during an insurance claim. There really is no reason to try to attempt this kind of thing by yourself. Get a public adjuster involved. Let us deal with the bull.
Oh my God.
If you've got more questions about this, feel free to jump on our live show. Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You can put your question in the comments and we'll answer it live. I'll get into real deep details on exactly what's going on. Just join us on the show. It's a good one, I promise.